Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, good afternoon, I should say. I'd like to, of course, acknowledge the Turangana tu Wailevu, Naratu mai Bureta, Turangana Roko Takala, Ratu mai Motoriki, and Roko tu Ivuma. I, of course, like to acknowledge also the Honourable Minister for Education, Heritage Arts and Local Government, the UN Resident Coordinator, the Australian and New Zealand High Commissioners to Fiji, UN Women, the Chair of PEFCO, which of course is a major business and enterprise in Levuka, providing jobs to people in Levuka, and also of course Ovalau and Motoriki too. The Chief, the Special Administrator I should say, the CEO, market vendors, ladies and gentlemen. You know, there's a saying that he who speaks last needs to speak the least. So everybody who's spoken before me has essentially highlighted why this market is critically essential. I would like to just very quickly put that in a national perspective. As you know, under the leadership of our Honourable Prime Minister, our government has had a major drive into empowerment of ordinary Fijians. It has meant connecting people to electricity, to water, building better roads, but also in terms of commerce and trade. And as highlighted earlier on by the UN Resident Coordinator, that there are a lot of people in Fiji who are employed in the informal sector. Informal sector essentially means people who are working for themselves. They don't necessarily have FNPF, but they have their own small little businesses. Whether they're market vendors, whether they're selling boo by the roadside, whether they're selling boiled Eevee, you know, at the airport or to tourists, whether they're selling mithai to somebody, all of these people are in the informal sector. And the estimates has been about 130 to 150,000 Fijians earn their living through the informal sector. COVID-19, of course, has presented us new challenges. As you know, the borders shut down nearly 2 years ago, and nobody knew what would happen. Nobody knew how long the pandemic would last. Nobody knew initially whether there's going to be a vaccine or not. But immediately after the word vaccine was mentioned, we started talking to our development partners, the multilateral agencies. We received initially about 4,000 doses of the vaccine through COVAX. Then the Indians helped us with 100,000 doses. And then, of course, our partners in the Pacific, Australia and New Zealand, provided the bulk of the vaccines. And I'd like to publicly acknowledge them again, the Australian people and the Australian government, the New Zealand people and the New Zealand government, for their assistance. Please put your hands together for them, because there's no way that we would have been here today if we had not been so highly vaccinated. Fiji is one of the most highly vaccinated countries in the world. Over 90% of the adult population, and of course now the 15 to 17-year-olds have been vaccinated. Of course, the Americans are now helping us with the vaccines too. And I would like to thank all of you who've gone out and got yourself vaccinated, those of you who have actually got the booster shots. As I was mentioning earlier on, that when the pandemic started, nobody knew how long it would last. We then had the vaccines. We as government, of course, under our Prime Minister, had to make some decisions that were not only short-term, not only till tomorrow or day after or next week or next month, but for the long term. Where would we be? What type of assistance would we provide? Do we provide assistance also to those in the formal sector and also in the informal sector? We had lockdowns, we had shutdowns, the borders all shut down. And then, of course, we put in plan a very decisive plan. And as a result of that, we were able to open the borders on the 1st of December, which has meant that we've got tourists coming in, a lot more economic activity is taking place, and therefore we can recalibrate ourselves. Look at our figures again, look at the revenue, where to from here. As part of the process, government has given about $500 million in assistance, whether to those people who became unemployed through the FNPF. We gave out $225 a fortnight, about $185 million in that respect. The $50, the $90, the $360, all of that money was pumped into the economy, not just to get the economy moving, but actually provide actual assistance to those people who would have been left behind or become unemployed. As part of that process also, throughout Fiji, in the last budget as we announced, we said that every single market where market vendors pay fees to the municipal councils, the government will pay the fees on their behalf. So today, every municipal market, where they paid market vendors fees, about $300–400 a year, depending which market they were in, government is now paying their fees to the municipal councils. Of course, you have not had a market here, and you have not been paying market fees. So what I would like to announce today, because you missed out, once your market is built, we will pay market fees for the 1 year once the new market opens. So you don't have to pay any market fees, because we want the people of Ovalau and of course Motoriki to benefit from that. It is critically important for us to understand that we simply cannot say to municipal councils, don't accept fees, because municipal councils need money to maintain the municipality. So this is why we pay the market fees on your behalf. In the same way, people who are going to apply for fishing license for the entire year, we pay for the fishing license fees. Those people apply for taxis or have to renew their taxi permits, we actually pay for their fees also. It is to assist people. Now, in respect of Ovalau, overall in Fiji also, I mean, this weather, in fact, in a way, I'm glad it rained. Because it goes to show to us that when government is actually planning, when we put in place our policies, there are a number of critical issues that we need to take account of. One of them, of course, is climate change. Now, the buildings that we now build have to be built to a particular standard. It has to be able to withstand, for example, cyclones up to Category 4. We had Winston, Category 5 cyclone. You experienced that. Within 36 hours, 1/3 of the value of our GDP got destroyed. So it is a country that's on the cold face of climate change, the rising sea levels. Ovalau, of course, is pretty peculiar in that sense because most of their road network is right next to the sea. So you have erosion. We have saltwater intrusion in farmlands. When we build roads now, we cannot build the roads the way it used to be built. It has to be built up to a new standard, and it's more expensive to do so. So in the same way with this market, it has taken a little while longer, but when it is built, it has been built taking into account what you want, and it has to be built according to various climatic standards. So ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to highlight that to you, because I know yesterday we had public consultations in the town hall. We had 2 rounds of public consultations, first with the teachers, with the Minister for Education and students, what they wanted. She also explained to them what are the new changes being brought about to the education system, the curriculum, literacy, numeracy, skill sets, how we can get our children to be better educated, become more knowledgeable, but also at the same time highlight the challenges. And in that we also discuss about the budget. When we announced the budget last year in July, we said should circumstances change, we will also deliver a mini budget. And as been announced, on the 24th of March this month, we will be delivering a mini budget. And as part of that, we want to hear from the public what are their concerns. We've done this consultation. We started off in Nandi, which is very hard hit by the closure of the borders. And then in the evening, of course, we also had members of the public, anybody could turn up and give their views and give their ideas. For example, we heard from a gentleman there sitting, talked about how Levuka is a heritage site under UNESCO. What can we do, for example, to preserve the buildings? How we can partner with our development partners? What you can do also as a community. Because as the chair of PEFCO highlighted, and I'd like to urge this to you, you as a community need to get together. There is no tourism association anymore. There is no sort of Levuka or Ovalau orientated association that can talk about your problems and can present in a cohesive manner to the minister or to government. And that's critically important to do that. We heard, for example, that one of the hotel operators said we need foreign tourists to come to Ovalau, to Levuka, so our economy can actually, start booming again. But please remember, as the New Zealand High Commissioner highlighted, she has already been here with her family. There are a lot of Fijians, there are a lot of expatriates that live in Fiji that would love to come to Ovalau. If you are able to package yourself, market yourself, maybe even for a weekend they can come over, they can visit your market, a lot of historical sites. There are a lot of places to see in Ovalau, perhaps even take a day trip to some of the surrounding islands. But if you're able to come together as a community, then you'll be able to get a lot more traffic from Viti level, from Vanua level. A lot of Fijians will love to come here. There's a lot of historical significance. So if there's one message I can give to you, Please, as a community, come together. Work out a roadmap. You have people like Ben and various other people here who can actually help you do that. And I think in that respect, what I also wanted to say to you, in Fiji we tend to be sometimes very good at coming to openings, groundbreaking ceremony, taralala, we have the new building, cut the ribbon, but we're not very good at looking after property. Please, this building is yours. It is your work environment. Some of you will even sleep here. This is your safe haven for women in particular. Please maintain it. Look after it. We want the municipal council also to have, maintenance costs. If you see something wrong, let's not wait for that window to be broken for 6 months and it wets the market and other things get damaged in the process. If something goes wrong, bring it to the attention of the council. You as a community can get together and fix it up because it is yours. So let's make sure that when the new building is built, in 3-4 years' time, in 5 years' time, it still looks the same. It still has the attraction. So these things are critically important for us to understand as a community. I wanted to also mention a couple other things in respect of this. Of course, some exciting things are happening. Down towards Bureta, you've got the agro-photovoltaic project. Currently, the EFL is negotiating with those people who will set up the agro-photovoltaic project, which basically means that they'll be supplying electricity. There'll be solar panels on top that generate electricity. Renewable energy is clean energy, so there's no pollution. At the moment, your electricity comes through diesel generation. We're burning fuel, puts out carbon into the air. With solar energy, it's clean, it's free, it's renewable, of course. So that provides electricity to the EFL grid. That is an exciting project because it opens up opportunities for Ovalau. It opens up opportunities for Levuka. More people will be coming through the project. As highlighted by your special administrator, when people come to construct this place, they should become your ambassadors. Some people come from Viti Levu to put up this building. Please make sure they have a good time. So they can go back and say, Levuka, Ovalau is a great place. Let's go and visit it with our family. And we believe there's a lot more opportunities in that sense, of course, that you can, it can engender. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to make too many comments, but I'd like to thank, first of all of you have actually got yourselves vaccinated. It's critically important to acknowledge that. Those of you who are eligible for a booster, please get the booster shots. It will help you, it will help your community. As we've said to a lot of people, that vaccination is not only about protecting ourselves and our families and our community and our country, but it also gives security and comfort to people who want to travel to Fiji. If they see that we're following various protocols, if they know that we have a high rate of vaccination, they'll say Fiji is a safe place to travel to. Let's go there. The people are already friendly, very hospitable. It's now also, health-wise, it's safe. It's competitive in terms of pricing. Let's go to Fiji. So you have to understand the commercial and the economic perspective of getting vaccinated. As I mentioned, the budget will be delivered on the 24th of March. You can make submissions, you can go online, you can go to the government Facebook page, you can go to the Ministry of Economy Facebook page, you can go to the government web page and make submissions. If you feel something that you need to, want to air, you want to have a particular grievance or some idea, new idea, please do so. It's open till the next week and a half. And also we'll be having next week online, so you can chat online. We'll be available on Facebook. And in that way, we as a community, as a nation, can move forward and ensure that we empower all Fijians, we empower everybody, even though they may be on an island like Ovalau or in one of the outer islands, that every Fijian gets to participate equally in our economic well-being. Vinaka Vaklevu, and thank you very much.
We'll have a round of applause here.